Previously on Hunting the Frontlines.
But yeah, I mean, life is like, I mean, the environment is big time different from when I went through 23 years ago. You know what I mean? Standards are different. The training pipeline is different. But I mean, you expect it's the army. You expect it to change and adapt to what what they need it to be more mission effective. But I don't know. It seems a lot. uh, Maybe not a lot, but it seems a little, at least a little bit less rigorous than what I remember.
You're listening to Hunting the Frontlines, part of the Praying and Slaying podcast network. This show is led by retired Army Sergeant Justin Wilson and dedicated to the men and women hunters who serve or have served in the U.S. military and chase game wherever they're stationed. From on-base hunts to wild ground just outside the wire, Hunting the Frontlines is your go-to resource for scouting new terrain, learning the ropes, and making the most of every opportunity at your next duty station. Now let's dive in.
And that might be just like generational bias too, because everybody before me said, like, you guys were the soft generation, you know what I mean? So who knows? Maybe it's just a little bit of bias there, but I don't know. I mean, like, I go to work every day and I basically don't see menacing looking drill sergeants with the sharpest high and tight you've ever seen, you know what I mean? And like a shave so fresh that like their chin like glints in the sun, you know what I mean? And they look like they would just like they just wanted to peel your face off at any minute, Now it's like and I'm not trying to say bad things about all the drill sergeants, because we've got some really good ones too, but I just, I don't know, man. I was always under the impression that like drill sergeants were supposed to be like some of like the top tier NCOs, and we've got some top tier NCOs, but we've got some really unimpressive people just shouting at kids all day long, with fucked up haircuts and shitty looking uniforms. I mean, I've even seen like drill sergeants walking through the battalion headquarters with their campaign hat like this, and I'm like, I just like fucking amazed. You know what I mean? Like,
wow.
so, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know it's changed a lot since I was in. Like I said, I retired in 16, and I know, me moving back here and then going to Knox over the last couple of years, just seeing the standards just blows my mind. I had to call a buddy of mine. He's not at Knox anymore. I think he went to Fort Carson, I believe. He's a sergeant major. And I called him. I was like, dude, I just saw somebody, because he was at Knox at the time. I was like, I just saw somebody walk out of the shopette with their hair down to their back. He's like, oh, yeah, they're allowed to now.
Yeah.
I said, what? I said, well, there's a guy here with earrings. And he goes, yeah, we can do that too. What? He's like, yeah, man, 670-1 has went downhill a lot. He's like, that's why when I leave here, I'm going to Carson for a year and I'm retiring. He goes, I'm done. I have had enough. Man, that's sad.
Yeah.
I agree that the Army is always going to evolve.
Sure.
But I think there's a point to where you still keep standards to a certain standard. I mean, it's just the way it is, because we are supposed to look professional at all times. We are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could never have long hair as guys. It had to be high and tight. Couldn't wear earrings. Not supposed to have men outside, out of uniform. We're not supposed to have them in. And it's like, because like our job, people don't know, man, but that's why you're the second dog handler I've had on. I'm actually going to ask you if you know this other guy too. The name sounded familiar to me, but we were always stationed together, or we were always stationed at the same place right after each other. Yeah. His name was Mike Unruh.
I remember Unruh. Kind of a short, stocky guy, brown hair.
Yeah.
I'd seen him. We went to competition together at Leonard Wood in 2009.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm familiar with him.
Last week.
Yeah.
So I knew the name. I couldn't place him. And then we started talking. I was like, yeah, I I know of you. We were never stationed together. Like he was in Kansas right after I left. He got there, and we were talking about different things, and it was just like, man, talking to him. He's out at Leonardwood now. He lives out there, and he's like, yeah, standards have changed a lot. I said, yeah, I'm seeing that everywhere I go now. It blows my mind.
Yeah,
but it's
I watched a drill sergeant one day scream at a trainee for not having headgear on, while the drill sergeant didn't have fucking headgear on. And I'm like, how are you going to enforce a standard that you're not maintaining? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm no fucking stranger. Like, I won't. Yeah, I have nothing to hide. Like, I spent some time off and on the Fat Kid program when I was in the Army, and as an NCO, like, you're always told, like, hey, like, how are you going to enforce a standard that you can't maintain? You know what I mean? And it's fucking, I 100% agree with it. You know what I mean? Like, but it's even worse when like visibly you're clearly like not maintaining the standard, and you're yelling at somebody to do the same thing that you yourself are not adhering to. You know,
dude, I actually had to before I deployed my last time down to, well, not my last time, the deployment I was down there with you on when we were in Balad.
10, yeah.
Before I came on that deployment, I actually had to correct an NCO in my kennels in Germany because she got onto a soldier for having on white socks. I'm cool with that. Correct him. He's got on white socks, fix it. But then she comes over and sits down at the computer next to me, and I look down at hers. She's got on white socks.
Yeah.
I cleared the fucking office.
Yeah.
I was a senior person at the kennels that day. I was like, everybody get the fuck out. I told her, I said, you stand fast. Do not go anywhere. Dude, I lost my shit. I told her, I said, and she was a newly promoted NCO at that. I was like, you as an NCO, you want to enforce the standard. That's great. But look at your socks. You can't enforce it if you're not following it. How does that work? I said, so now what corrective training did you give him? She told me, I said, okay, you will do the same thing. Only you'll do it twice as much. We expect more out of you as an NCO than I do the soldiers. So you as an NCO, if you're going to correctly train him and fix him, I'm going to do the same to you.
Yeah.
It's like that. Oh, man, I never understood that. I've had friends of mine, get your hands out of your pockets. Dude, you've got your hands in your pockets.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, and I don't know. There was a lot of even to the opposite effect. That same deployment, 2010, I got the 3 combat trackers assigned to me, and they weren't real dog handlers. And you could tell like they didn't really give a fuck. Like they got this one opportunity to go be a dog handler for a year, and we were heading up to the division PMO for a ceremony, and division PMO, like, it's the flagpole. You need to make sure you have all your shit, and like they were big on like having your iPro and like that little fucking strobe 9-volt battery thing. Like they'd inspect you for like having that sometimes.
Yeah, the tracker or whatever it was.
Yeah. And your fucking blood shit or whatever. I'm trying to remember, but anyways, one of the combat trackers, like, he goes to hop in the truck and he's got no iPro, and I was like, "Where's your iPro?" And he's like, "I don't know, I lost it." And I'm like, "Well, fucking go find some, right?" And we're at the VBC kennels. There's 15 fucking people in that kennels. Like,
it's big.
I'm giving you the opportunity to fix yourself. Go ask somebody if you can borrow a pair. I was like, and then be over at the fucking division PMO. Well, he shows up at the division PMO with no iPro. So we're standing there, and I was like, "Hey, check it out. When we get back, you can change into PTs and get a fucking bottle of water and meet me out behind the trailers, because I told you to do a thing and you didn't fucking do it. So now you're going to pay." And another NCO came to me and was like, "Hey, such and such came to me and said that you were going to smoke him for not having iPro." And I was like, "No, I'm not smoking him for not having iPro. I'm fucking smoking him for not doing what the fuck I told him to." And he acted like it was optional. And he's like, "Well, don't you think that's a bit much?" I was like, "I'll tell you what I think is a bit much. The fact that you as an NCO are sitting here hugging him, telling me I'm the fucking bad guy." And you know what I mean? I was just like, what army am I in right now? You know what I mean? Like, and I never really considered myself a hard ass to my guys, but like, if you just absolutely just don't do what I tell you to. Like, now I'm gonna make a fucking example out of you. Like, because if I don't, then you've just made an example out of me that nobody has to listen to me. And that's not an option. So
No.
but yeah, so like to the opposite effect, you know what I mean? Like I ran into some NCOs who were just like almost seemed like they were unwilling to uphold standards. You know, it's like neither of these things is okay. Like the person who is unwilling to adhere to the standard that they're trying to enforce, and then like the other NCO who like wants to be really lax on standards, like neither of you guys are helping get the fucking job done around here.
Oh, dude, I want to say, man, I'm so proud of you because I remember you being an E4 specialist, man, at
Yeah.
Balad. You know, we studied our asses off to get you the promotion board. I fought my ass off to get you the board because I
Yeah.
was not letting Fleming ruin that shit. And I
Yeah.
fought
Yeah.
my ass off to get his ass fired because he needed to go.
I bumped
Dude,
it. He got assigned to JBLM while we were there. I'll tell you about that more later, but
did
yeah.
he really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no way.
The shitbag
Wow.
didn't wear off. It didn't wear off. So
Wow.
yeah.
Dude, God. Oh, what was his name at Spiker? The guy that thought he ran us, Beldeman.
Beldeman, yeah. You know, he was kind of a fucking tough pill to swallow a lot of the time, but then like on that board stuff,
Yes.
he had fucked up and got something wrong. I can't remember what it was. And it was something he dropped the ball on something. He came to me after the fact and like handed me like one of his personal coins. It was like, dude, I am fucking so sorry. Like
Yeah.
I fucking failed you. And so like I kind of chalked up like he was a little bit pompous, but like when like where the rubber met the road, like he would do the right thing and he was a
Yeah.
good dude.
Well, see, I ran into
Yeah.
him back in Garrison.
Yeah.
I had to go to Fort Carson TDY and he was there. I didn't know it. And I walked in the chow and I hear somebody say my name. I was like, I don't know anybody here. So
Yeah.
I turn around, it's him. I was like, holy shit. Coolest guy you could ever talk to. And
Yeah.
he apologized to me when I flew up to Spiker to get promoted because it was like 2 months late.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I was getting paid for it. I didn't care. I'll still wear E5. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I'm getting paid as a 6. I'm happy. I don't care.
Yeah.
And he apologized to me in front of the sergeant major. He's like, hey, I'm sorry this took so long. I was like, Sergeant, you didn't get to apologize to me. I said, I'm getting paid for it. I don't care. The sergeant major goes, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, I don't care.
You know, that same, so you're talking about the 25th ID sergeant major?
Yeah.
The PMO side. So that same sergeant major, to the opposite effect. So I went to the board on September the 11th and, did a pretty good job. And by the reg, they have until like the 21st of the month to process packets so that you can make points. And I knew because I was hitting all the correspondence courses and getting all my shit in.
Yeah.
Like I knew I was going to make points that next month. And then, somehow, some way, like they had told me that like I wasn't going to be eligible until the following month. And I was like, well, like that doesn't make any sense. Like we got this done in time. And I was like, this is fucking bullshit, and the fucking sergeant major wanted to talk to me and he was like, Specialist Neveau, what is your problem? And I told him, I was like, sergeant major, I was like, I fucking worked hard for this. I want my fucking promotion as soon as it's available to me. Like if I did all this fucking work, I put all this time in, like you're not going to tell me that some fucking pack clerk that's fucking sitting around getting 3 hots in a cot can't get my shit in on time. You know what I mean? Like, and so, he was cool about it, but he's like, you're a fucking pain in the ass. You know, that kind of chewed my ass over the phone. But I think he appreciated that. Like, I wasn't losing my professionalism, but I was standing up for myself at the same time because, like it's, if you want to be an NCO, like if you respect the core that you're a member of, like you should respect when somebody is willing to push back in the name of doing the right thing. Which, as you know, for as long as you were in the Army, like there's a lot of fucking NCOs that are out there that'll like sit there in an NCO PD and be like, you should always do the right thing. And if I'm doing the wrong thing, you come and you tell me. And then like as soon as you step out the fucking door, they're like, like Saints on Sunday, sinning on Monday kind of shit. You know what I mean? Where they're like, I'm gonna be fucked up and I don't want to hear about it. You know what I mean? Like, so,
Well,
but yeah,
that's the difference in the guys that actually were brought up the right way. The guys that were brought up the right way that had the right leadership, they care. And that's, I didn't know you guys at first that worked nights because I was on days. I was constantly running missions.
Yeah.
And then I come over to the kennels when I'd hang out with you guys. I'm like, man, you guys are pretty cool. Kind of like you guys. And then you guys are telling me about all the shit that's not being done.
Yeah.
I'm the next senior person down from Fleming, so let me see what I can do. I got some friends. Let me see what I can do because, I mean, you guys were getting jacked around bad. It's like, no, that's not how this is supposed to be. And then I didn't know because Fleming wasn't there at the time. He was back in the States with his sister. But I didn't know. I thought that was the first time. I didn't know it was like the fourth or fifth time he had left to go back home.
Oh, yeah. He didn't want to be there.
Yeah, I started making phone calls to my program managers back in Germany and stuff. I was like, hey, why is this guy down here when he's never here? Like, what are you talking about? I said, he's never here. He's at home right now back in the States. This is the fifth time he's flew back. And he leaves these guys here with no guidance whatsoever. Mm-hmm. They've got no support because we couldn't get dog food at the time.
Yeah.
You guys couldn't get dog food when I got there. I was like, what? You guys couldn't get gravel around the kennels because the kennels up there would flood all the time. Couldn't get gravel around it. I made contact with DPW and got that stuff brought over. It's like, this is easy stuff that he's just not doing. And it's not your guys' responsibility. It should be on him. So,
and then my favorite thing about him was, he would tell you guys during the day, like, you got to be going out hitting gates and doing training and stuff like that. And then he would take the Yukon XL, so the long one that you should be taking out to training. And he'd be like, no, this is my personal fucking whip that I'm going to fucking floss around while I go and try to find fucking, chicks at an MWR and shit like that. And that dude, like, this is strictly my opinion. I don't know for a fact, but he came down on deployment orders in like 2012, 13, because he came to the Fort Lewis kennels. I was already there.
Yep.
My buddy Harder was there, who we had been at the Fort Jackson kennels together. And Fleming fucking said that he was drunk and he wrecked his expedition while he was on deployment orders, and then self-enrolled in ASAP. So he didn't get in trouble for fucking drinking and driving, and then was also taken off the deployment orders that anybody who knows him knew he didn't want to fucking go on anyways. And then my buddy Harder wound up having to take that rotation for him over in Afghanistan. I think he had just like gotten back from Korea. Like, he was just outside of his fucking dwell time too. And he was like the kind of guy, he wasn't going to turn down the deployment, but it was like the last time. It was really like the last thing he needed at that time. But yeah, like he absolutely shitbagged his way out of that deployment. And they wound up, I think he wound up fucking getting out of the Army not long after, because he wound up getting fucking kicked out of the kennels, and he was in SSD at that point because he had left and gone to SSD school. Well, who would send that dude to SSD school is fucking beyond me.
He wasn't supposed to be in K9 no more. That's the thing. It was so when I left, because I left a few months before you did.
Yeah.
When I got back to Germany, I started calling around to find out. Like, no, they're kicking him out of K9. I was like, good. He shouldn't be a dog handler. His dog never came out of the crate.
I took him out. Rico. I remember Rico.
It was all of us out there that would get the dog out and let it run around. Yeah. He never did. And it's like, dude, he never trained when we were down there.
Yeah.
Me, Carlson,
McLean. We had who's the dude with the glasses? Thompson. Thompson, I think his name was.
No, he was from Germany with me.
Wilson? Fuck was his name? They lived in the two chews across from me.
Yeah, he lived next to me. He actually went to Taji, and he stayed at Taji for like 4 months.
Yeah.
And then we had McLean, Carlson, you, Kuda, because Kuda was on the end of my building.
Yeah, he wasn't there too much longer, though. He wound up fucking going back on a Red Cross message or some shit, not coming back.
He went back. Yeah, because we had to pack up his room and stuff. Yeah. I ran into him. I was going through Beanock, and he was at Leonardwood for something. I ran into him.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't say a word to me. He wouldn't say a word to me. He'd turn and go the other way. I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I didn't really have any beef with him. Like, he was an all right dude, other than like, some of the drama in his personal life. But and then there was Chief Rodriguez too. He was a good dude. He was a cool
Yes,
dude to have
yes.
around.
I liked him. I liked him a lot.
Yeah.
He had a lot of good knowledge. I liked learning from him.
Yeah,
So
I still have a set of his anchors that he gave me after he got promoted to chief. Because um he gave me some pretty good mentorship after that issue with that one dude that I almost wound up swapping hands with because he was being a fucking dickhead. And I was trying to be nice to the guy, and he was just being a
that was
piece
at
of shit.
Victory, wasn't it?
Nah, that was in Balad. Like, so my dog went down. She was having like real bad GI tract issues, and she was having
Mm-hmm.
like bloody stool and stuff. And Spiker, we had let Spiker know, like, hey, fucking Kara went down. We need another drug dog out here to search the joint military mail terminal at the time, because that was where all the mail was coming
Yeah.
into Iraq.
Yep.
And so they sent out this fucking Navy MA1 and his dog. Can't remember the guy's name. Started like an F, like Faria or something.
Yeah. I
Um,
can't remember.
and he went out with me the first night, and I was like, hey, so like, I'm just gonna take you out and show you what I do. Like, I go in, I check in at guard mount, I'll radio in that I'm in service for the PMO, and then I'll go out and I'll search the mail terminal. I'll do some training. I'll hit the gym. You know what I mean? And he's like, basically, we got through all that, and he's like, yeah, I'm not doing fucking any of that. And I was like, well, I'm just letting you know, like, these are the things that I do. Like, they sent you out here to do these things. Like, I'm just trying to point you in the right direction. And he was like, I don't need a fucking specialist trying to point me in the fucking right direction. And he started to fucking cop an attitude. And that was when it was right outside the gate right there at the fence, right there next to the chews. We were getting out of the
Mm-hmm.
Tahoe, and like we had been chirping in the fucking truck the whole time. And he was just like, he was laying it on thick that he was an E6, I was an E4, and that like I was in no position to tell him what to do. And I was like, look, dude, I'm not your boss. I'm just trying to tell you like what I do here. You're supposed to be filling in for me while my
Yeah.
dog's down. And Chief Rodriguez had come out, and he was like, what the fuck is the problem? And I was like, if this dude doesn't quit running his fucking mouth, I'm gonna make it in op. And he's like, the dude was like, fucking hit me then. And I kind of lunged, and fucking Chief Rodriguez fucking grabbed me. He's like, get in your fucking shoe. And we wound up talking, and he was like, you should know, um, like you can't just threaten him like that. And I was like, Roger, I was like, you're right. And he was like, but you should know that I let him know that fucking his behavior is a fucking embarrassment to the Navy, and that he had no business talking to you like that and treating you like that. And he was a fucking Chief Rodriguez was a fucking cool dude. Um, I mean, he was probably like the most square fucking um kennel master that we had, like outside of you, when we were there, because all we had other than that was we had somebody before, like right before Fleming, Jurish. I remember Jurish, that
Yep.
dude. Like, I remember him trying to give me shit because he told me to put fucking sandbags in the Humvee, in the floorboards of the Humvee. And I was like, hey, like, Roger Sarn, I'll do it. I was like, but just so you know, like, you don't want to put those in the floorboards of the Humvee, because I was on my previous deployment, I was a machine gunner in Baghdad. We took a lot of IEDs and shit. And
Yes.
he looked at me and he was like, oh, well, fucking why is that, smart guy? And I was like, well, it's like, if you actually drive over a device and you have sandbags underneath you and it fucking blows up, like, you're just gonna sandblast yourself and get fucking shrapnel up your ass. Like, you're gonna make it worse. And he wound up fucking getting kicked out of there for something. He fucked up and come under an investigation for something and wound up getting pulled out of there. And
Oh shit.
that was when they sent Fleming up. And I don't remember what it was. He said some shit to somebody that was like big time out of line. And because
Ooh.
he like it was one of those situations where like people knew he was incompetent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like when a coach loses the locker room. Like,
Yep.
people are trying to put on a professional face, but like the boss starts to be able to tell that nobody respects him, and they're giving like hollow respect through fucking courtesy. And
Yeah.
he started to push real hard, and he wound up doing or saying something to somebody, and he got plucked out like real fast. And they sent Fleming in. Um, but Fleming was terrible for his own reasons too.
Yeah, he
But
was horrible,
yeah,
and I felt bad for you guys. I was glad I got him out of there. I didn't know
yeah,
who took over after me because I left,
yeah,
and I really felt bad, man. And I never apologized to you for it. But on our second deployment, man, I felt so bad I had to leave, but I didn't have a
yeah,
choice. I mean, it was my son.
yeah,
You know, I
yeah.
had
No,
to go, but it's like, man, I felt
yeah,
bad because it was kind of things in the kennels was kind of up in the air at the time. When we had great guys there, we did,
yeah,
but they didn't have anybody to step up and take over. So there was two of us kind of running the show at the time.
yeah.
And I felt so bad for leaving. I was like, man, I got to go though. I don't have a choice. I got to get the hell out of here. I have to.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you know,
I wasn't there much longer anyways after you left. So I was there long enough to get through the second general elections
mm-hmm,
that spring. And
yep,
then I was having some personality conflicts with the kennel master, though, like never unprofessional.
mm-hmm,
And then a couple of the other handlers. And I think they moved me out because the kennel master didn't really like me, which is fine. She had made me one of the two training NCOs alongside this other dude, Staff Sergeant Washington, who's a good dude. And
okay,
she's like, I want you running training and this, that, and the third. And um, like me and you and a couple other people were the only people who would actually go out and like hit odor.
yeah,
And everybody else just wanted to like hit the fucking gym and sit around watching AFN. And so I like there was a dry erase board like kind of in the middle of that common area on the wall,
yep,
and I posted a fucking training schedule, and I was like, hey, here's the training schedule, here's the times, please be there. And I'm little old E5 me, amongst
yeah,
like some specialists, a couple of sergeants, and a bunch of staff sergeants,
yeah,
and the people who were already training would be the ones that would show up,
yeah,
um, and then nobody else would come out. And even like when our Air Force handlers would come out, I had another issue with that, which I'll tell you after this. But um, people were no showing, and then Herrera was like, "You need to fucking get on these guys," and I was like, these are all fucking staff sergeants. I'm a sergeant.
yeah,
Like, I put the schedule out. If they don't want to do the right thing, here I am. I'm telling you, nobody's coming out. So you do the kennel master thing, and then you start chewing ass. But beyond
yeah,
that, I don't have the fucking rank leverage to do that. Like, I make my combat trackers go out and train, which they sucked, which is another story altogether because of that fucking program. But like,
mm-hmm,
um, I don't, she didn't like me because I would professionally push back on things and be like, look, like
yeah,
this is a situation for what it is. And then I got the other reason I think they moved me out was I got reported to the Air Force program manager by the three Air Force handlers that we had there at the time. We had Bush, Drake, and one other kid from Boston. I can't remember his name. The one kid from Boston was pretty good, but he
mm-hmm,
kind of just like hung with them. And then like Drake and Bush were like they, or no, we had Weeks too. Oddly enough, so we had four Air Force handlers.
yep,
They would come out and train, and their dogs couldn't hit odor for shit. And
yep,
I would put out mass odor because you're downrange. So
yeah,
we're looking for big bombs. So I would put large quantities of our explosives kit in like fairly easy areas. Like we go over to like this big ass warehouse. I can't remember like what the name of it was. It was like a KBR warehouse. And
yep,
I'd put like fucking 5 pounds of C4 at the back of a pallet. This thing's just throwing odor all over the fucking place. And their dogs would walk it. And then I would go, and they'd always just be like running around, kind of like not with like not a lot of like pattern to the way they're doing things.
yep,
And their dogs would walk odor, and I would say, all right, like here's what I want you to do. Like go over here, start here, like a couple, like 3 or 4 bays down on the the warehouse racks,
yep,
and just detail. And they would be like, we don't fucking detail. And I'm like, well, you don't fucking hit odor either. So like,
exactly,
what do you want to do? And they would go, just show us where the odor is, because that's how they're used to doing things. We're
yeah,
like in their certifications, they basically know where odor is, because
yeah,
that's what the enemy does. They tell you where they're going to put the bombs.
exactly,
So
exactly,
I was like, look, like you guys are a fucking liability. Like you're going outside the wire with our fucking army guys, and they're expecting that you can fucking find odor. And clearly, like you can't. And I was like, so like either fucking start detailing or like fuck off. And they reported me to their fucking program manager, said I was being a hard ass. And so our first class, John, was a fucking stand up dude. He fucking stood up for me. He's like, dude, he's not wrong. Like, so you guys can bitch all you want to, but like he's not fucking wrong. And so I think I had enough personality conflicts there that they were like, hey, like we need to reopen this kennels in Al Assad, because that was the westernmost airbase in Iraq, and I think that they knew that we were going to have dignitaries coming in for the switch over to Operation New Dawn, and so they needed canine support out there. So I think they kind of gave me a pet project to get me the fuck out of VBC, because that kennels was abandoned by the Marines and Navy, and I had to go out there and basically have the facility all like refurbished, like all the electrical had to be redone and everything. And so I think I was basically just fucking exiled, but I didn't mind it because they sent me with two handlers. Oddly enough, one of them was one of those Air Force handlers who I wound up having a pretty decent like working relationship with. And they left early. So from like, I think it was like August of 10 until I left in January of 11, I had this gigantic kennels facility all to myself. Fucking offices, AFN, fucking TV, internet, the whole deal. Like it was a like giant obedience course. I had two vehicles to myself. I only needed one. So it was bad. It was a pretty bad setup. But yeah, I was outside. I was in just outside of Al Assad as Baghdadi, and I was out with one of the maneuver units, and was talking to one of these kids on the I think it was the weapons intelligence team, and some specialist, and he's like, where do you stay at on the on base or whatever? And I was kind of explaining where I was, like where the kennels were located, and he's like, they're like, oh, you're behind that, you're in that big ass building, like right down there on the corner from the flight line. And I was like, yeah. And they were like, you must have a bunch of people there. And I was like, nah, it's just me now. There's nobody left. And this fucking kid goes, I bet you have fucking mad pussy in there all the time. And I was like, dude, I was like, look, man, I was like, it would be a pretty good setup. I was like, but I'm married, so like, I'm not doing anything like that. And he stops and he looks at me and he's like, yeah, but I bet you got mad bitches in there all the time. And I just couldn't help but laugh at, the average Army fucking attitude towards things. You know what I mean? Like if you get 5 minutes of privacy, you better be getting laid kind of thing. So, and he just wouldn't believe me. I'm like, dude, I'm married. I'm not messing around with my wife. And he's like, he's looking at me like, you're squandering a fucking prime opportunity here, man. So,
he's disappointed.
Yeah, I called it the Fortress of Solitude because it was just me and fucking Gino, my dog, for months in there. So much so that like I think the kennel master actually got concerned that I didn't have any like supervision or anybody else out there at all, and he was like, let me go fucking get this guy some company. And my buddy Nick was essentially by himself over in Ramadi, and he was messing around like helping to train some of the Iraqi police canine handlers, and like he sent me over to Ramadi for a couple of weeks to fucking hang out, so which was pretty cool, hang out with a buddy of mine. So but yeah,
dude, I always tell guys that that's the best kennels you can get into are the remote kennels. When you're away from everybody and it's just you and a couple of handlers, man, life is so much easier.
Yeah.
You don't have to deal with the dog and pony show. So before you got to VBC, I actually had my own kennel over. Shit, I don't even remember the name of that damn little fob.
Were you on Slayer right there where you could see over the wall and you guys would get shot at on a regular basis?
Yeah, that's what it was. Slayer. I was like, I can't remember the name of that little place. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to go under the tunnel to get to the kennels, and the kennels were basically outside the wire.
Yeah.
Except for that shitty little wall.
Yeah, and they had the was it the Jordanian army? One of those other countries' armies were standing on the friggin' I'll say the fence line. It wasn't even really a fence. And they would leave it all the time. We'd get mortared all the damn time. We'd have shots come over and hit the kennel buildings. I lived in a house. You'd hear I was on the phone one night talking to a friend of mine, and all of a sudden I had this big window here we'd painted black.
Yeah.
Window just started shaking. I was like, what the hell? I was like, I'll call you back, man. I hung up my computer, run outside and a mortar would come in and landed. We had 16-foot high T-walls.
Yeah.
It landed right inside the T-wall outside my window. Luckily, it hit on the corner and hit the building instead of hitting the window. Most hunters spend all summer shooting at a foam block, a worn-out 3D target with a scoring ring, or a bright orange bullseye. When that buck of a lifetime steps out at a steep quartering angle, that orange dot on the buck is nowhere to be found. You've been training for a scenario that doesn't exist. If you want to be lethal when it matters, you have to train with reality. That's why I use and recommend Dead Nuts Outdoors. They're 100% made in the USA, producing lifelike, Ultra HD, 2D targets that bring the field to your backyard. When you're talking real animal images, life-sized, and built to withstand whatever Mother Nature throws at them. Unlike traditional targets that force you into a perfect broadside shot, Dead Nuts features multiple shot angles. Because in the woods, animals are unpredictable. Dead Nuts ensures you're ready for the shot of a lifetime every time. These targets are ultralight and packable. You can throw them in the truck for hunting camp or slide them under a bed in the off-season. The slogan says it all: hit the spot, not the dot. Hit it, Dead Nuts. Stop practicing, start preparing. Head over to www.deadnutsoutdoors.com and use my personal code FRONTLINE10 to take 10% off your entire order site-wide. You can also find the link right here in the show notes. Train for the reality of the hunt. Hit it, Dead Nuts. We've all been there. You're 6 hours into a sit, the buck you're after is nowhere in sight, and your knees are absolutely barking against the bark of that tree. Most hunters just suck it up until they can't take it anymore and head for the truck. But you can't feel attacked from a couch. Comfort isn't a luxury, it's a tactical advantage that keeps you in the game longer. That's why you need the knee bag by Light the Fire Outdoors. This isn't some cheap foam pad. It's a patent-pending, bead-filled design that actually molds to your knees and supports your hips. Built from ultra-tough, weatherproof Cordura, it won't soak up water or gain weight when the weather turns sideways. It features padded wings that cradle your knees and even has molly attachments for your thermocellular gear. The best part is a multi-seasonal tool. Strap it to your body for saddle hunting, mount it to the tree as a pad, or when rifle season hits, turn it sideways. It becomes a rock-solid 15-inch tree-mounted shooting bag for those precision shots. Whether you want coyote tan or mossy oak bottomland, this is the gear that evolves with your hunt. Stop fighting your gear and start focusing on the hunt. Get yours at www.prayandslaying.com and use my code FRONTLINE10 to get free shipping on your order. You can also hit the link in the show notes. The knee bag: comfort, evolve, stay steady, stay ready. In the woods or on the water, it's the small details that dictate success or failure. A ruined diaphragm call or a lost fly isn't just a nuisance, it's a blown opportunity. You spend thousands on the hunt, don't lose it because you didn't protect your tools. Puck Outdoors has solved this with their 100% made in the USA and modular twist lock storage systems. For the hunters, the Puck keeps your elk and turkey mouth calls protected, organized, and ready to run. No more warped reeds or searching through pockets, junk drawers, or truck floorboards. For the fisherman, the fishing Puck features a magnetic tray and 4 modular compartments to keep your hooks, flies, and weights locked down and exactly where you need them. It's compact, it's rugged, and it's built to keep your most critical gear in peak condition season after season. The best part is they fit right in your pocket, vinyl harness, or fishing vest. Don't let poor organization be the reason you come home empty-handed. Go to puckoutdoors.com and use code FRONTLINE10 to get yours. That's code FRONTLINE10. You can also find the link right here in the show notes. Protect your calls, secure your tackle, puck in, pack out. It's like, damn, man, this is nuts, dude. And yeah. I loved it. And that's why when I got to VBC, dude, I'd look at the board. Hey, I'll take that mission. Hey, I'll take that mission. I had to get the hell out of there because Adams, the guy that was there, was leaving. He was going back to the States. And they're like, yeah, you're going to take over the kennels here. Nope. I got 4 months to go, boys. I'm running missions now. Yeah. I didn't get to run a whole lot of missions out of Slayer because I was the kennel master there.
Yeah.
I'm going on missions. I said, you can find somebody else to put in charge. I'll help. I'll guide that person. Never done it before. So was it Buchanan?
Buck, yeah.
Yeah, me and him, we started running the kennels together. That way he could go on missions when he wanted to. I could go when I wanted to. I was like, I'm not staying inside the wire. Get my ass out of here. I'm not an admin guy. Get me the hell out there doing missions. That's where I feel at home.
Yeah, that was the downside to when things turned over to Operation New Dawn. All the fucking rotations outside the wire dried up, and there was just no going out anymore. And so things got boring. You know what I mean? Like it was just me and my dog, and so I would, I'd take him out and I would train. Thankfully, I had some sock contract handlers that were there, and these dudes had no canine experience. So I got to like kind of take them on as a little bit of a pet project, and they were some good dudes.
Mhm.
Had some fun with them. But yeah, it got real boring when we weren't fucking going outside the wire anymore.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude. The amount of guys though that like would be down range as a dog handler, and like how much work you got to put in just to get certified to be able to even be eligible to go, and they
Yeah.
would go down range and like fucking not give their dog their meds and shit like that so they could go home and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then like the rest of us didn't get it because like I still use deployments as the example, like when talking to people like other guys that I work with now that aren't MPs about
Yep.
like how shitty the schedule can be as an MP is. Like I use the example of dog handlers will go down range just to have predictability in their schedule, just to be left the
Yeah.
fuck alone. Because like you get your con ops, like, hey, you're going out with like these dudes or those dudes. And then in
Yep.
between those times, you could do whatever the fuck you wanted to do. You know what I mean? And like,
Yeah.
versus when you're back home, like you're always dreading the fucking, the DA6 and, when it's on its umpteenth change, 5 days into the month,
Yeah.
kind of shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to go back and touch on you're talking about the Air Force handlers. So when I was over at
Yeah.
Slayer, I had an Air Force handler with me.
Yeah.
Guy had never been deployed before. We all know the listeners and viewers of this aren't going to know, so I'll put it out there. The Air Force deployments are 3 months long.
Yeah.
So this is his first deployment ever. He's never been outside the States before. So I get him, green guy. I take him out, make sure his dog can find odor and stuff. And just like you, I plant heavy because that's what we're going to find. You're going to find either an IED that's got a couple 100 pounds of C4 with it, and it's just daisy chained together. You're going to find 4 or 5 of those, at one
Yeah.
time. It's just what you're going to find. You're not going to find one little block of C4 or one little piece of nitro.
Yeah.
You're not finding that. So I get it to where I feel comfortable sending them out with a unit, and there's a maintenance. No, it was 88 mics. 88 mics were going to, I think, Taji.
Yeah.
And there was another unit kind of providing security. I'm doing air quotes for the people who can't see, but kind of providing security for him. And he was going with them.
Yeah.
I take him over to, it wasn't on Slayer. It was around the airfield over the other side over there. That fob over there, the one that had the prison.
Cropper, was that fucking Cropper?
Yeah, Cropper. That's it. I couldn't remember. That's
One
been
of those
so
ones
long.
over there by Biop. Yeah.
Yeah. So I take him over there to meet up with the unit, right? We get over there, and I had to actually pick up a handler at that kennel, and the kennel master of that kennel was a guy I knew from Germany, good friend of mine.
Yeah.
We're standing outside talking. Well, their break area was those 16-foot high T-walls, and they had grass inside there for the dogs to go pee and poop. So I told him, I said, listen, you're going to be in the truck for probably the next 4 or 5 hours with no stops. Take your dog in there, give it a break, do all this stuff. You can do what you got to do, and then come out. I'll grab you and the other handler. I'll take you guys over and drop you off at the unit. All right, Sergeant. He takes off running and goes in there. Me and my buddy, we're both from Germany, both been stationed together up there, know each other well. We're standing there talking, and all of a sudden we hear, pop! Oh, shit. Did he just shoot his dog? So we go running in there. No, he's in there playing with his gun and fires off a shot on the T-wall.
Oh, shit.
I'm like, oh, man, I got to call old Timmons now and tell him what happened. So
Yeah.
I told him, I was like, look, man, put your dog back in the truck. I don't think you're going to be going on this mission. We got to call this in.
No.
That's what started the whole thing with the Air Force program manager was that. That was the first red flag. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. Oh, man. I was like, dude, I saw some stuff being K9 and being down there that I didn't think I'd ever see in my career.
Yeah, I mean, I knew, like McLean and some of those guys, like they were like good Air Force handlers. They were fucking good dudes worth their salt. But yeah, I think like in my opinion, like really good Air Force handlers were the exception and not the rule. And I think that it's not really a knock on them personally. I think it's really a knock on their certification standards, where basically the kennel master can plant odor and they can know where it is, and then they're like wing or company commander, whoever, can come in and observe them, not really knowing shit about canine, and then magically, like, the dog's hitting everything, and whereas like us, you go to a certification, you don't know shit. You got to have a 95% proficiency rating with a 0% false rate. And that's not even touching all of the other standards with regard to patrol and obedience and stuff like that. So, we still had our shit bags too.
Oh yeah.
For sure. Like we had a guy who his last name at Lewis got turned into a verb because I won't say what his name is.
I think
But
I heard it before from Dieter.
it rhymes with Berg. So so he was downrange with the SF guys and was like talking a lot of shit about how killer him and his dog were and this, that, and the third. And then they got outside the wire and his dog wouldn't hit odor for shit. And apparently he didn't do well when they came under contact. And then so they shit canned him quick, fast, and in a hurry. And then when new handlers would come in and they would interview with the SF guys, they'd be like, you're not gonna fucking burg us, are you? And because he became the standard for what like a good for nothing fucking canine team was, So but yeah, and like those guys always made you feel like you had to, at least for me anyways, like you had to prove yourself that like you were worthy of being put out in front of guys, you know what I mean? Because you knew that that some of these combat arms guys, like they'd see a dog team coming and they just didn't know what they were going to get, you know what I mean? And you just want to make sure like these guys knew what was up. Like I remember those second general elections, I was sent out to, was it the Babel district? It's right there. It's that peninsula that's like right in the middle of the Tigris, I think it is. And we were out there for 2 weeks leading up to the elections, and we're hitting polling site and sites adjacent to the polling sites just night after night after night, like to the point where they were wanting to like hot seat me onto like day rotations, and I'm like, look, like the dog's got to get some rest, and not finding nothing, no fines, no fines, no fines. And this lieutenant who I was with, I could tell he was getting skeptical because like I could just pick it up in his body language that he was like he didn't trust me. And we were back on they had like this platoon of guys was separate from the company, where they were living in fucking GP mediums or larges or whatever on a fucking giant Iraqi police compound that was right on the riverfront. Like they just had like Hescos around their tents and stuff, and they were out there living good. And he like the lieutenant finally at one point he had said something to me. He's like, well, does your dog like even find anything? How do you know if he's on something? And I was like, dude, my dog's fucking good. Like he's good to go. You don't have to worry about him. But I could tell that he was skeptical. And I was like, I'll tell you what, sir. I was like, go anywhere you tell me. Like, you want to go in the building, you want to go in the parking lot somewhere, like anywhere in this fucking compound, like go hide something. I was like, and you just tell me in this general area, like and it was a huge fucking IP compound. It was the biggest one I'd seen. I was like, I'll start searching. I'll find whatever the fuck it is. And he hit a flashbang, and I had found it. He had stashed it kind of like um, way up on the fucking Hescos behind some of the Max Pros. And Gino goes down. He gets up on the wall and he starts bracketing down low. And then I see him throw his nose high, and he pops up high, sits, and he was a really good stop and stare. And he's just staring. And I was like, it's up on top of the fucking Hescos. And he looked at me and he's just like, they can disbelieve. I was like, sir, like I'm telling you, like I'm not supposed to tell you this, but like if we get done searching something, I say there isn't anything there. There isn't fucking anything there, And oddly enough, the day of the elections, I remember sitting there, and we were sitting like up the way like the bank for the river went down. Like we could kind of sit like even with the HESCO barriers, and you could look out over the river. And we had our backs to like the whole areas that we had been searching those 2 weeks. And across the river, it was just like every couple minutes, it was just like boom, boom, explosions going off over in the city. like
Yep.
in on the other side of the river, and behind us was nothing, man. It was quiet, and it was just like it was vindication. It was like for whatever reason, nobody targeted that place. You know what I mean? And so I mean, it was good to know that like that we didn't miss anything that was otherwise there.
Oh yeah,
But yeah,
dude. It sounds crazy, but there's times I miss it. You know,
oh yeah,
I learned so much from those deployments, but I had
yeah,
a good time too. I mean, I got to experience a lot of things that a lot of guys never experienced in life.
yeah,
And it's like, man, I had a purpose then. And it's like now I'm still trying to figure out what that is for me. But then I had a purpose. And it's one of
yeah,
those things where I don't want to sound like egotistical or nothing, but it's like I had an important job. I
yeah,
did. And you've got to be good at your job. Like you said a minute ago, we train our asses off for this
yeah,
because you have other people's lives in your hands. They're
yeah,
relying on you. And I had the same thing happen to me. I had a lieutenant that was kind of he was vocal about it. He's like, man, I don't know, man. Your dog hasn't found nothing. And you know, how are you going to know if the dog does hit something? I was like, she'll show change. As soon as she shows
yeah,
change of behavior, I know what to look for. I know what to pick it up. And we're searching a warehouse. It was a
yeah,
suspected IED factory. Well, he's walking next to me as my security. Because I'll be honest, man, there was a lot of times we go in those warehouses and all that stuff. I wouldn't carry my rifle. I just carry my pistol. Because I
yeah,
always had 4 or 5 security guys with me. So it's like, I don't really need my rifle right now.
yeah,
Now looking back, it was kind of stupid. I should have had my rifle, but I knew a lot of handlers were doing it. I'm like, it's true. I really don't need it because, it's flopping all around. I could tighten my sling up, but still it'd move around. And it's like
yeah,
anywhere I put it, I'm fragging my own dog because the dog's, she's searching all in front of me. My barrel's down here. So it's like,
yeah,
I was leaving the truck. They always keep somebody security at the truck. I'll leave it in the truck. I got my pistol. I've got
yeah.
4 guys with the rifles. I'll be fine. And Lieutenant's talking to me. My dog, I've got her on a 10-foot lead. She's connected to my vest, and she's in front of me walking. And all of a sudden, she's going straight. Man, she shoots to the right real quick. I told him, I was like, sir, I kind of pointed. She run over in this big, there was like metal and junk and stuff piled up all along the outside edge of this warehouse. She's over,
Yeah.
man, just going. I see her little tail going. She
Yeah.
backs out, sits. I looked at him. I said, right there. I always kept chem lights
I'm
in my
there.
pocket. I broke a
Yeah.
red chem light and tossed. I was like, it's over there. So EOD comes in, and they'd found the end of a 155 round
Oh shit.
right there. And she ended up finding like 7 different devices in that warehouse throughout. And
Yeah.
I told him, I was like, that's it right there. I said, the other places we've searched, there's nothing there. I said, if there was
Yeah.
something there, she'd found it. And then she found a Connex out in a big palm grove one time, buried.
Yeah.
I was surprised she found out, but then when they dug it up, it was full. I mean, full of weapons, grenades, explosives, landmines, just, front to back, top to bottom, full.
Yeah.
I was like, that's why she was wanting to dig. No, 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 no. Oh, no.
Yeah.
I rewarded her and got the hell out. I was like, oh, no, don't start digging shit. So, it's just, we had a purpose. We had a job then.
Yeah.
It's like, man, back in garrison, you train. That's it. That was our job.
Yeah.
Train.
You train or you get banged out on the road, you know what I mean? Like bouncing around on shifts and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah, I'm glad it was tougher at first, but I'm glad that my wife and I waited until basically I was leaving the army to start having kids.
Yeah.
Because like post army life, being a dad has given me the purpose that if our kids were like getting ready to be leaving the house and we were getting ready to be empty nesters, I probably would have lacked, which was a good thing. So like I'm an old dad now, you know what I mean? Like my youngest is 7. Um,
Okay.
so but like post army life, trying to be a good dad for my kids has given me the purpose that the army used to give me too. So
Yep.
and kind of thankfully in some ways like the army went from like largely like treating me well and being a great experience, save for a few like shit leaders.
Oh, yeah.
But like on my way out, like going through my med board process, they treated me like an absolute fucking bastard. Um and like even with like some health issues with my son where he had to go back in the hospital, like um they made my exit from the army so fucking bitter that like I think it really fucking hammered home for me that this is your next purpose in life, is being a family man. So
Yep.
I kind of appreciate it in that regard. But yeah, it was like my exit from the army was very unceremonious. Um my spine was giving me like big time problems, and
Yep.
the harder I would push to try to like continue maintaining, height and weight standards and stuff like that, the worse it would get. um and so finally I was
Yep.
like, I wanted to stay till retirement, but clearly it's time. And the thing that made it kind of the like shitty was they took me off my dog, which I totally understood. You know what I mean? Like, you got to get this dog on somebody who's deployable. Um
Oh yeah.
and I was like, well, like, leave me in the kennels. Like, I'll do admin. Like, I was at that time, I was on a bomb dog, but I was still the primary narcotics custodian. I was the fucking vet coordinator. I was the purchase card holder. I was the UPL. Um, I was ODTA, like wearing multiple hats amongst like having
Yep.
Joes and everything. And I was like, just leave me there. Like, I got plenty enough fucking jobs I can do here. Like, I can still be an asset to the kennels. You guys just
Yep.
put me on the detachment's books, so I'm not counting against the kennels. And they're like, we can't do that. You got to come to the detachment. And I was like, all right, so like, what do you want to do? And the first sergeant was like, we're putting you at the MP desk. And I was like, honestly, like, first sergeant, like, I'm going through a med board. I'm going to be out of the loop a lot of days.
Yep.
A lot of appointments, a lot of ACAP appointments and stuff. Like, and you know how the MP desk is. Like, somebody's got to be on that desk. And
Yep.
um, they put me on the MP desk, and the NCOIC of the desk at the time was like not a fucking great dude. Wasn't the worst, but like was not a great dude, and things became like adversarial kind of quick. And it was just like, hey, I had this appointment, and they would be like, well, you're supposed to be on the desk, and I'm like, yeah, like, but I don't determine when these medical appointments are when you're going through the med board process. I don't.
Nope.
I go when they tell me to go, and I don't fucking miss them, because you don't want to miss these appointments.
No.
Um, you know what I mean? And then, like, God forbid I want to go to like some ACAP classes or anything like that. You know what I mean? And then my wife was getting ready to go into labor, and we're all the way in Washington, and we don't have anybody for family nearby. Um, and I put in for my paternity leave, and back then you got 10 days. Now
Yep.
motherfuckers get 90 days for paternity
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah.
Which I think is largely a good thing. Maybe it's a little bit much, but um I put in another 11 days on top of the 10, so I could get 3 weeks to help my wife get settled in. You know what I mean? Like, try to like
Yes.
help her establish routines. And I remember the NCOIC of the desk was like, why do you need another 11 days? You're not having a fucking baby. She is. And I was like, dude, what the fuck? You know what I mean? What
Yeah.
kind of an attitude is that? Like, I'm asking for 3 weeks so I can help, get my new family set up. He's my first child, and he had some issues shortly after being born. He had to go back in the hospital. And so I was like, hey, like, my wife and son are going back in the hospital. Like, I'm going to go and be there with them. And he was like, really? Like, why do you have to fucking be there? And I was like, because it's my fucking wife and son. And he's
Yeah.
like, well, fucking fine. But I need to know like how long this is going to take. And I was like, dude, I don't fucking know. So like, this could be a couple of days. I don't know. I
Wow.
don't know. Like, my family's going in the hospital. That's where I'll be. And every fucking day, like, he'd be like, you done yet? Are you done yet? And I'm like, dude, like, I have spent the last 11 years putting the army before myself. Like, never
Yep.
fucking asked for much. Like, the one thing I asked for was canine school. You know what I mean? Like, and even that, I had to come off of a pretty hot deployment to Baghdad to get that school. And like,
Yep.
never telling the army no, always taking on the extra responsibilities. Like, deployments would come up and I'd fucking volunteer. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm asking to be out of the loop for a few days while my family's in the hospital. And you treat me like I'm a piece of shit. You know what I mean? And it was just like, it really did. It went from being like, a job that I loved to being really fucking adversarial, like really fucking quick.
It sucks that toxic leadership will do that. I mean,
Yeah.
I dealt with something similar. I was at Knox. My ex-wife was pregnant. She went into labor early,
Yeah.
and my son was born. He was in the NICU, and
Yeah.
he was in it for 3 months. And my boss was like, "Well, you're not taking time off. Watch me,
Yeah.
watch me." I went over his head. Finally, it got to the point like, "You want out of the kennels?" Yep, sure do. Get me out of here. So they put me over at the MP station,
Yeah.
and I'll never forget the guy that I worked for. I can't remember his name, but he was old crusty E7. He looked at me, he goes, "Your place of duty is the hospital." He goes, "Now you're still assigned to the kennels for right now. If they call you, you don't argue with them. You don't talk to them. You answer the phone. You tell them have a great day. You hang up. You call me.
Yeah.
No one from this company but me, and no one from the kennels will contact you. Your place of duty will be that hospital, and that's where you will stay.
Yeah.
If you need something, you text me. I'll make sure you get it." All right. So I texted him one day. I was like, "Hey, listen, my son's got to have. They're giving him blood. I need some guys that are this thing to donate." He went straight to the company, started asking people blood types. He got 4 guys that were all the same blood type, sent them straight to the hospital to donate.
Yeah.
Thanks, appreciate it. I was like, and he would just, "Hey, every evening when you get home, call me or text me, let me know you made it home, so I know you guys made it home safe, and just give
Yeah.
me an update on your kid, how he's doing." Cool.
Yeah.
He came to the hospital 3 times, saw me and my family, saw my son. Did I ever see the guys from the kennels? No, not
Yeah.
one time. And that's where I got to the point. That was my first duty station as K9. I was like, you know what? I don't think I want to do this job anymore. If it's
Yeah.
like this, that ain't for me. And then I got to Alaska, and I was in traffic at the time. And then September 11th happened. Like, hey, we need guys in the kennels now. Hey,
Yeah.
you got experience. You're going. So I got sent to the kennels, and I got certified quick. Like, oh man, you know what you're doing. Then I got from there. I went to where they always say if you want to be a real dog handler, you go to Germany. So I went to Germany. I was like, hey, I'm going to go. And I'm glad I did. I learned a lot. I became a lot better handler, a lot better trainer.
Yeah.
And I went from there to back to the States. I had 1 kennel left in me. I was like, I'm done. I did 11 years, man. I'm out. I want to further my career somehow. I don't want to do this all the time.
Yeah.
Well, that's when I became an instructor. I was like, I want to do that. I don't want to do this no more.
Yeah.
I got tired of being the new guy in the kennels. Oh man, you're deploying. I just got back. I'm not going nowhere. I'm getting some home. How long you been here? Oh, 28 months. I've got 4. Bye.
Yeah, I showed up at the Lewis kennels in 2011, right after that last deployment. And when I showed up there, the kennel master looked at my ERB and he's like, "Oh, you got a dwell issue." And I was like, "What the fuck is a dwell issue?" And he was like, "Well, fucking, you're gonna be stabilized for fucking however many months." And I was like, "Yeah, like I know what dwell time is, motherfucker. Like, what is a dwell issue?" And he's like, "Well, I can't fucking deploy you." And I was like, "Dude, I just fucking got back. Like, for fuck's sake, man. Like, and even then, like, I got back in January. I reported there in May. I'm like, I got 7 months of fucking dwell time. Like dwell time you got to give me. Well, fucking big deal. You know what I mean? Like, holy shit, dude. Like, and that dude didn't last long because he wound up getting shit canned for having an inappropriate relationship with one of his fucking subordinates. But and that was a whole that was a whole fucking ball of worms. I mean, like literally, I showed up at this kennels and fucking everybody's calling this fucking female E5 the kennels mommy, and she's making the DA6 and like telling staff sergeants and shit what to do. And I'm like, what the fuck is with this? And one of my buddies who I was with at Jackson was like, yeah, we're all pretty sure that like she's banging the kennel master, and the kennel master was already married with children. And um, long story short, like evidence was gathered and turned in, and it turned into a whole fucking thing. But yeah, like, just back to the point of like you show up to a place and like you just come off of a rotation and a guy's like, well, what have you done for me lately? And it's like, Jesus fuck, man, like, can I have 5 minutes?
Yeah. The one thing I always got tired of hearing is, well, you have experience. Okay, you're right, I do. I have experience. But you have 4 guys there who's never deployed. When do they get their experience?
Yeah.
And to be honest, all my deployments to Iraq, I volunteered for. I didn't have to go. The last one, when I came down to friggin' Baghdad with you guys, I volunteered for that. We had a female handler in the kennels. I knew her from Germany. She had like 46, 47 months of dwell time.
Yeah.
And she got tasked to deploy. I was the plans and ops at the time. I wasn't even on a dog anymore. And I had worked, when I first got to Leavenworth, I was on a drug dog, and that lasted like 3 months. Like, hey, no. With the experience you have, my buddy was going to leave. He was a kennel master. He was leaving. Like, you're taking over the kennels. You're working a bomb dog. We have to get a bomb dog certified now. And they had a dog that nobody could certify. It's like, all right. I said, well, I want to train by myself so I can just focus on me and the dog. Because they're like, oh man, she's a really hard dog to work. Her change of behavior and her cues are real small. You really got to. I've had dogs like that. Let me work her. Let me do it my way. I certified her in 2 months. Got her certified. Very first time I go to cert, boom, done. Yeah. And we get this female in. I knew her from Germany. They're like, hey, she's going to deploy. Can you train her up? Sure. Every day she come out with a new reason why she couldn't deploy. Every day. Finally got to the point where she pulled the I'm going to try to get pregnant card.
Yeah.
So she played that card. They let her out of it. Well, they tasked a buddy of mine to go. Well, the crazy part about it is this is like a Tuesday. Monday night, we had been training out at the Kansas City airport. We got back to base. We got back to the kennels, and I told him, I was like, hey, dude, you guys go ahead and go home. It's late. I'll take care of the dogs. I'll get them all put up. We didn't have any ass eater dogs. You know, all the dogs, we can all handle them and stuff. I'll put them all away. You guys go home, spend time with the family. My ex-wife at the time, she wasn't there. My kids were all gone. They were all back in St. Louis. I'm by myself. So I'm not going home until 3, 4 o'clock in the morning anyway. I'll be back by 7 or 8. You know, we'll pick up training again. I'm at the kennels doing some paperwork and stuff, and I was kind of going over the training schedule for the next couple of days. And this guy calls me. He's like, hey, man, I just want to let you know you're the first person I called. My wife's pregnant. Dude, that's awesome. They've been trying for years. The next day, we're down at the Hunt Lodge training, and he had just got there. He was taking over the kennels for me. He calls me, and man, I can't remember his name now. Harvey. Mm. Everybody knows Sergeant Harvey. Everybody knew this guy in K9. This guy we call him a little ninja. We'd be out training somewhere, he'd just pop up. You'd be standing there talking. He was real sport too. You'd turn around and he'd stand there like, oh shit, where'd you come from? I'm sneaky. Yeah, no shit you are. He calls me. He's like, hey, can you step outside for a minute? I said, yes. I told one of the other guys, I'm like, hey, here's the training sheet. Here's where everything's at. You know, keep running, everybody. I got to talk to Harvey real quick. So I step outside, and he's like, hey, I want to let you know we're putting Clark on the deployment. Huh? He's like, yeah. I said, where are you at? He goes, MP station. I said, I'm on my way. I jumped in the truck, headed up there. I walked in, and it's him, our provost marshal, and the colonel are all standing in there. I walked in. I was like, Clark's not taking the deployment. I am. They all kind of looked at me. They walked over and shut the door. Like, what? I was like, Clark just found out last night his wife's pregnant. They've been trying for 2 years to have a kid. I'm not going to let him deploy and something happen to him downrange. He never meets his only child. No. Yeah. I'll take it. They're like, yeah, but you've only got like 14 months dwell time. I don't care. Put me on it. Okay. The colonel goes, anything you want, you got it. I said, sir, I want 30 days leave. He goes, we're not even going to charge you for it. You take 30 days, go home, spend with your family, come back. He looked at Kennel Master. He goes, he ready to deploy? He goes, yeah. Let's go. So it's like, you know, I just got tired of hearing all the time, oh, you know, you got experience. I want other guys to get experience. You know, it's time for me to step away. Yeah. Because the same background, the same thing. And it sucks. Yeah. It sucks. I mean, you know.
Yeah. I knew a guy, I mean, maybe you might have bumped into him at some point in Germany. This guy, Washburn. By the time he got out of the Army, he retired as a staff sergeant with 11 combat stripes. Yeah. Dude spent 5.5 years in combat. You know what I mean? And it was just like such a fucking good dude, like such a solid guy. Would never turn anything down. And then like you just had like, you had these in and outers, like these people that would just like, they'd come into K9 and they enjoyed the job and they enjoyed the hang, but like they weren't about that life. And they'd find ways out of fucking deployments or like they'd want to go back to fucking the line, or they find like, oh, I want to go to the schoolhouse, or I want to do this or that or the third. And it was like, you just had these guys that were just eating fucking deployments, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, you know, and then like even some of them, like a buddy of mine, who my buddy Nick, who, you know, his last rotation was to Afghanistan on a pretty fucking kinetic rotation with the SF guys, and had deployed a bunch. Comes back and starts struggling with PTSD real bad, and then like his alcoholism started to kind of take over, and they're trying to put more responsibility on him. They're trying to make him the trainer. He's like, look, like I need to take a knee. I need to get my life right.
Yep.
And you know, not to go in too much detail, but like they tried to kick that guy out on a bad conduct discharge, and like
Yep.
he didn't break any laws or anything like that. Like he got the MPs called to his house a couple times because like, you know, he was struggling with his PTSD, but like he wasn't like abusing his wife or his kids or anything like that, but like he was having some outbursts and stuff like that. And they were like, you know, if the MPs get called to your house again, like we're gonna kick you out of the army for you know, like the fact that he was just being a good fucking soldier, and like the wear and tear of war was fucking wearing on him, and when he could no longer keep the pace, they held it against him. And like he even said like, I need to take a knee, and they were like, you don't get to fucking do that here. It's fucking pedal on the it's foot on the fucking gas all the time, you know what I mean? Like, and if you can't keep up, we're gonna fucking shit can you, and we're gonna shit can you not just unceremoniously, but we're gonna fuck you over on the way out the door. Like, I've seen a lot of guys like have mental breaks while they were in, and then instead of the chain of command easing up and being like, this guy is fucking broken, they push harder, and then they're like, oh well, then like he came in and he was unprofessional, you know, and it's like this guy's having like major fucking anxiety attacks and shit like that. And I said it to somebody, we had a guy coming through my battalion was having one of these issues. It was a drill sergeant, and he had a break, and I got a chance to say to one of the people that was in his chain of command, and I was like, you know, like you guys keep fucking pushing on this guy, and it's probably not my place to say, but like this guy had a mental break, and you keep pushing him, being like, what's your fucking problem? Get it together. And then you want to hit him, you want to punish him when he loses his professionalism. But like, that'd be like if somebody came back from being downrange, had their fucking arm blown off, and then you were like, why are you so shitty at push-ups?
Yeah.
They can't fucking do it. You know what I mean? It doesn't fucking make any sense. You know what I mean? Like, but because you don't see it on the outside, like you think like, what's your problem? Get your fucking shit together. And then when they snap, they blame it on them. You know, it's just like it's the most like immature way of looking at things, and like it breaks your heart to see this shit.